Welcome to the intro section that I can't seem to get right. I've recorded this literally 17 times, and I still seem to be stumbling over my words. Now, that is not an uncommon occurrence if you listen to the hatecast. In fact, I promised you guys a hatecast with Jamie Lewis today, and it seems like I'm not able to deliver. Not because of anything that I did, but because he's shitting his brains out right now. He has a stomach bug, so I wish him a speedy recovery. Like, no, I don't. You know what? Just do it. Like, he could have brought a bucket. He would have been fine. Anyway, today I'm joined by Ryan Skellie. Ryan and I go over the obesity epidemic. We go through, it was kind of a rushed episode. You guys can kind of tell that from the way that I'm yammering on. But it really did turn out to be a fantastic episode, I think, because we go from all stages of life, the obesity epidemic, and what you can do about it. And I don't know, it seemed like one of our better episodes. We also go on a rant about the smartphone generation and the Instagram generation and all that stuff. So if you're interested in hearing two jaded young men, we're actually both pretty young, talk about that, you came to the right podcast. Speaking of the right podcast, where we also always offer you deals. See, I just stumbled over my words again. It'll be fine. Just move on. So, this weekend, we have BOGO on Riot and Klarna. 30% off of your entire order on top of that as well, using the code that I will have in the description box below. Also, we have an update. I don't know if those of you on our newsletter are paying attention, but the new Permaswole is in production, and it is coming soon, trademark pending. So we also have a couple of articles that we linked from Jamie, actually on the Chaos and Pain site. I did want to clarify something because we have been getting feedback and questions about where Jamie's articles can be located. So they are no longer on, the new articles are no longer on chaosandpain.blogspot.com. They have been moved to Plague of Strength. I'm going to try and get with Jamie to link that within the chaosandpain.blogspot.com, if I can speak correctly, so that you guys can be aware that it's moved there, even if you do not listen to the hatecast, which everybody should. It is the best hatecast podcast on the internet, and we even have a subscribe pillow and a bunch of weeboo shit all over the place. Yep. So, with that being said, there's not really much more to say, except the fact that we did it! We made it through an intro section. Enjoy the show! I got way too excited at the end there. You think that was bad? Babe?
No.
She says no. I'm good. Enjoy the show. Well, guys, welcome to the hatecast. No, I have not cleaned my printer back there, just because I know it bothers somebody. Now, in the next video that will be cleaned, but until then, I will procrastinate. Today I'm joined by Ryan Skellie. Welcome back.
How we doing?
Well, you're not doing so good. So tell us a little bit about your iron dropping again.
Yeah, it's just back down. They still have no reason as to why. They're gonna do they did a couple of blood tests waiting to see, but
yeah.
I take the iron in, I absorb it, but then it plummets down shortly thereafter. So at least it's not a bone marrow issue. If it was a bone marrow issue, the doctor said that I wouldn't absorb it at all. My hemoglobin wouldn't come back up. So we're just trying to figure out exactly why it's crashing, because when it does, I feel like shit, and I'm tired all the time. Mentally, like, people don't realize you don't have much ambition. I mean, I get to the day, but I have no initiative or ambition to do anything extra. I get home, you're always kind of in a fog. It's easy to forget stuff, and then I just kind of crash in the evening. So
Now,
And working out, it's like not even 30 minutes, and then I come home and it's like I never took any of the riot, and I just crash. Like after 35 minutes, my body there's nothing left, and I'm already,
you're done. Yeah.
And my heart rate gets up pretty quick because I'm already, short of breath and all that stuff from it. So it's not the best to work out, but I still go for like 30 minutes or so and try to do the best I can.
Now let's take a step back. So when you go in, they already tried doing the iron pills, right? So that was one of the first things, or did they immediately tell you to get iron via this method because it's so low?
Instantly get the iron because it was just so depleted and so low. It did nothing. Iron supplements would do nothing in that regard with it being so depleted. Right.
So what does this process look like? So you go into this place, right? And then you sit in a chair, like kind of like at a giving blood or dialysis. You kind of go in there, and what do they do? I've never had this done, so.
Well, normally, like today, the lady had a hard time finding the vein, and I'm like, pick and choose whichever one you want. And so that's been a couple times a mess. But yeah, you sit down in a chair. They obviously put the needle in, the whole kit and caboodle, the bag, everything, the intravenous injection, and then I just sit there. And it takes about 20 minutes, and I get a whole unit of iron. And then afterwards they'll flush it for like 5 just to kind of push it through my body. And I can't feel the iron going in, but I can feel it when they flush it. It's cold. I can kind of feel it going through my body. It's kind of cool, but it's like overall with the iron, it only takes about 20 minutes to get the iron in me. And then I just walk out. I'm done, go about my day.
Right.
So and it takes a couple of days to feel it. It doesn't happen like the blood transfusions like that. I felt instantly felt better. So
you're a little ragged today, but hopefully you can cover this topic because we actually had this one planned. We said in the last episode we were going to discuss obesity. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the obesity epidemic, the obesity crisis, the thing that's making our country, at least United States-wise, in poorer health overall. Now, for those of you who don't know by now and who have not been listening to the hatecast, this used to be, hold on, focus. That used to be me. That was sent by a family member of mine. You see that? That's me at about 400 and something pounds. So I've been there. The reason it's classified as an epidemic is because it's such a gigantic problem. And when it comes to the United States specifically, obesity doesn't just account for you being large, right? So you being large is fine. We have a pretty high amount of people who are in the super obese category, right? So somebody who's over, 40% body fat, which is mind-blowing. That's a lot of body fat to be, on your body, more pressure on your joints and all that jazz. Now, it's not the plague, it's not the Black Death, but it does kill you slowly, and it gets you in a less healthy place in your life, less productive place in your life, and eventually does lead to sudden death in most people, right? Your video went off there.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
There you go.
But yeah, so I would like to know your opinions on this. So you're an educator, right? So you kind of see this stuff firsthand. You see it in the children, the teenage kind of life stage version of it. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. As in, I believe a lot of it, especially with kids, it's the parents.
Yeah.
Rarely can a child go home and cook themselves something to eat. It happens, but a lot of time is what's put on the table is what they eat. What they get at lunch is what they eat.
Right.
Or they don't eat, And also just they're doing a better job when it comes to food choices in regards to fast food and things like that. But that's still a big issue. It's convenient to stop and just grab something all the time.
Right. What are your opinions on the changes in school lunches, by the way? Never did ask you that.
I don't eat them. I'll tell you that much right now. I don't think they're... I mean, I packed my own, but they're not bad. It's just the... like, for instance, the calories on there, they only have the carbs. They don't have the macronutrients for proteins and fats. Just how many carbs. That's it. So it's like they're not even focused on the proteins and the fats. They're focused on the carbs and not having those too high. The lunches aren't bad. They're still not well balanced, but protein sources cost more. Carbs are easier. Right. They're cheaper. So they've definitely gotten better. I mean, the portions are kind of small, so then the kids are still hungry, so then they go and buy the junk. That's the biggest issue, I think. And just, what's at home. Parents anymore, adults, a lot of people don't know what a protein, carb, and fat are. They have no idea. So that's the lack of knowledge.
Let's take a step back. So apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. You're not talking about genetics. You're talking about lifestyle habits. And when it comes down to it at the end of the day. Because something people don't know is, the reason why obesity can be such a big problem for some people is because it increases the risk of heart disease, it increases the risk of metabolic syndrome, or syndromes. Once you have metabolic syndrome, that then can lead into diabetes and stuff like that. And if you already have diabetes running through your family, that is another major, nail in the coffin when it comes to you really should take care of this stuff. I'm just glad I took care of mine. Family history is so important. And, little known fact about me, I was actually adopted. And that's, I know what people are going to say, oh, he was adopted. Well, no, like, I landed in a good family, and I'm like, fine, But because of that, I don't know much of my family history, And something that has always scared the bejeebers out of me is the fact that, I could have diabetes in my family. I could have heart disease in my family. I could have. And in the 90s, they didn't do a really good job of getting that information together. I have a packet about this thick of information on my family history, and that's it. But some of the major things, by taking care of staying at a healthy body weight or a healthy body fat percentage and keeping extra weight off of me, I can negate some of the issues that may rear their ugly heads, and so could you. Now, I would like to kind of ask your opinion on, we're going to go through every stage of life I think would be good for this podcast. So every stage of life, what we think the problem is, how we go about solving the problem, and where do we go from there. So let's jump right into that. So childhood obesity. I'm talking your little kids, your toddlers, and even a new thing that's come kind of to the forefront is like obese babies. It's kind of weird, but like there are toddlers that are,
yeah. I mean, I wonder, and believe it or not, I'm tall, I'm lean. I kind of got my mom's side for that. When we're talking about genetics and family, as were my dad. When he was my age, he was never obese, but he was a farm boy. He was big, he was thick. My sister, she was bigger, thicker growing up, and now she's obese, and she's had 2 kids, having a third. And I mean, when you look at her, you can tell she's obese, and whether she's pregnant or not, to a certain extent, as in like an obese person where like you can see all the tons of fat in her legs. She's not there, but she is severely overweight. I feel like my first niece, she's 7, she's bigger. She's gonna have a weight issue. She does already, but it's accepting it. I see it, she's young, it's okay. No. And it's easier to give her the cake instead of disciplining her or this and that. My other niece, who looks a lot like my mom, she likes to eat. She likes healthier foods. She's a little more petite. She looks like she kind of got my mom's side, our side of the family genetics. The third one, who knows? But I feel like a lot of it has to do with the parents' habits, because both of them are big. I don't like to say obese, they're big. When I think of obese, I think of you can't fit in a car, but then again, I can't fit in a car, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you think of obese, I think of you're in the grocery store driving around the little moped things. You know?
Right.
But they're both big. They're overweight, we'll put it that way. And they need to make a change, but because they are, their kids are. Because it's easier. People think it's easier. Oh, just give them chicken nuggets. Well, last time I checked, you put the chicken nuggets in the oven. Last time I checked, you put a chicken breast in the oven.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. The problem is the thought process of adults goes to the toddlers and the little kids. And they just feed them what is convenient, which in turn is causing obesity at a young age, because once again, the parents don't have the knowledge here. The kids down here, they're just going to do what mommy and daddy say. They're going to eat what they give them. So really, when it's a child, it could be genetic, but I more believe it's on the parents and what they're feeding the kid, and their activity level and what they're doing. So I think that's why young kids are having an issue with obesity, because of the lack of education by the adults and the initiative by the adult to make their child healthy.
Right.
And my niece is 7, and I told my mom, hey, she's close to that age where she can go to school and it's not going to be peaches and cream anymore. Unfortunately, it's a rough world, and these kids are heartless to where she might get bullied.
Oh, yeah.
And she's too young to know, but that's where it's coming on my sister. And I'm using my family as an example because I'm not afraid to, because no matter what, I love them. But it's like at one point, it goes on the adult. And to look at your kid and say, you know what, okay, my kid, I need to do a better job at feeding them more nutritious meals and watch what they're eating. Because a 7-year-old ain't going up in the cupboard and getting food and snacks out.
No. I will say this, though.
Sorry, I had a call right there, but
you're fine.
Go ahead.
I will say this, though. Another thing that parents specifically in this arena, right? They're afraid to acknowledge that they've done something wrong, or they should look at things from a different way, because they think that makes them a bad parent. When in actuality, you're feeding your kids, you're clothing them, you're probably spending time with them. Some of us more busier than others. You're probably, reading them bedtime stories, all the stuff that matters, right? You just got to work on this one little thing. And that doesn't make you a bad parent. That just means you need to buck up and do it. It's It's just like going out and earning a paycheck so that you can support your family. Do you want to be, a cashier at a grocery store? Maybe not, but right now you need a job. Or do you want to work the long hours so that your family doesn't have to worry about the extra stresses of paying for college or paying for medical care or something like that? No, this is just another one of those things. And it's okay to admit or to look at it from that perspective, and the fact that, look, I'm a parent. What I do matters to this little thing that I've created. It matters. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try and do the best that I can. And if I've done wrong, you know what? All right, I'll admit it and just move on, fix it, because most problems in life are literally like that. You have a problem, you either you've done something wrong, like, I don't know a good example, like stealing something when you were younger, like shoplifting, right? Well, stealing that one thing doesn't have to follow you for the rest of your life. Just like with being a parent, you saying, "Oh, I made the wrong choice." Well, okay, now we're going to change that. We're going to be better. We're going to be better today. So, don't be afraid to look at it like that. And we're not trying to attack parents that give their kids chicken nuggets, because I've done it. Another person, close to the podcast here, Ed, he's done it. Let me rephrase that. He's ordered the chicken nuggets, told me they were for him, or were for his kid.
We know, we know where those are going.
But there's nothing wrong with that. But it should not be the mainstay of your child's diet, And I think that's where the problem is.
Mm-hmm. And
coupled
it's
with
like being an adult, right?
yeah.
I mean, it's like the lifestyle we live, The other day, for example, at work, I took a cupcake. You can eat that? And I said, well, one, I'm just trying to eat to keep my weight on. Because when I'm tired, I'm not nearly as hungry. And I'm not trained, so I'm not as hungry. So I'm like, you know what? If I want to have snackier food right now, that's fine. 'Cause I'm just not trying to lose a bunch of weight. But my point was, what I was saying was, you can have your kid, you can give them chicken nuggets. You can give them the fruit snacks. You can give them the dessert and the treat because they are kids.
Yeah.
Right, because they're kids. They need to be kids. But 70% of the time, let's give them a good, healthy choices. Not, 20% of the time they get the fruits and vegetables and 80% is junk. It's just having that balance, as they call it, and, letting your kid enjoy being a kid, but get them used to eating those foods, and then it just becomes a habit. But yeah, they still have the normal kid food. They need to be experienced being a kid, but just like anything, it's just in moderation. As long as it's in moderation, then they'll never have an issue. The problem is it's not even close to being in moderation for some people, where that's all they do,
Yeah.
And then their kid's not as active and stuff
I might get a little bit of flack for this too, but it also has to do with certain parents nowadays being afraid to tell their kids no.
Yes.
Because kids will throw a fit. I mean, it's animalistic. I mean, you look at them and they're these little terrible animals that sit there and they go, "I want this. I want it now." That's all it is. It's like a monkey throwing a fit. Like when they don't get the banana. Like there's this experiment that they ran on, monkeys that are, they had this, where they share, they were doing an experiment on whether or not they'll share, like a community banana,
Yeah.
And whenever the monkey didn't get the banana, he got pissed. He started throwing crap. He started, shaking up against the wall, like, "I wanted that banana." Toddlers are exactly like that sometimes, depending on your toddler and his energy needs.
I
was that way.
I have a prime example is Christmas. I went home. We're about to have Christmas dinner, and my niece goes over to grab the cookies. And at the same time, my dad, my brother-in-law, and myself, we all just yelled, "No, put them back!" And she didn't like that because we're about to have dinner. You don't need the cookies. We're about to have dinner. So what did she do, though? She stormed off. She got pissy. She ran downstairs, and yes, unlike what other people do, we didn't chase after her. Let her go. Eventually, they're a kid. They're going to come back. Yeah. We've all been there. We've all done it as kids and then growing up. Is let them have their temper tantrum and then say, okay. And they come back just like almost nothing happened.
And it's just like this. Those animalistic urges will take over. It's like she's probably thinking, "I really want that cookie. I'm mad at them. But I'm hungry. I'm going to go back."
Exactly. And then, I'm bored. No one's around. I want attention. I'm going to go back to the table.
It's like you act like none of that just happened. It's right. It's kind of. I wish the real world worked like that sometimes.
It'd be wonderful. It'd be wonderful.
It's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to punch him in the face. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is. Anyway, I'm hungry now. I'm going to go to McDonald's.
Right, While they eat together. Yeah.
But and that's I may get flack for that, but there is a way to tell your kids no. There is a way to do all that stuff, but I am by no means a child expert.
Yeah, no, I don't even have kids yet, so I still got a few more years. I'm, one step at a time. But at the end of the day, I mean, it just all, it all comes down to just being responsible and know that sometimes you got to be a bad guy when it comes, especially when they're young, and it's only going to make it easier as they grow older. Yeah. As we all know, the older you get, it is a lot harder to break habits like these. Like I train young kids, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. I give hitting lessons to. That's my favorite age group to work with, because they can make a change quickly. As we're a high school kid, I've got to break a habit of 10 years. Yeah. And that takes a lot of repetition. As a younger kid, you can move their hands where you want, or you can instruct them on what to do, and they get it a lot quicker, but then they can kind of maintain that because they're not breaking a bad habit they've developed for 10 years, maybe only a year or two.
Right.
And, it's just something it's breaking the habit and just making things routine,
Yeah, not only
So,
that, but some of them have this unbelievable energy. It's just pent up, and that's kind of their
oh,
only,
yeah.
you get those kids that their only outlet is either, karate classes, you said hitting, which is, I'm guessing,
That's
boxing and stuff, right?
I got in taekwondo, and dude, I
Yeah.
never got in trouble again in school. It was weird,
Yeah.
you know?
But they just have
But,
this locked up, and I was one of those kids too.
mhm.
I had this immense energy, and I was part of that Ritalin generation, so of course I was put on it. But that's a
Right.
whole nother thing. But I had so much energy that could have been focused so much better elsewhere. And
Hmm.
my parents, God bless them, but they didn't. I mean, I I failed out of karate because I didn't want to take orders.
Right.
I failed out of soccer because like a little league soccer thing because I didn't want to do it.
Yep.
But I had that energy. But anyway, but
I
like
mean, it makes you wonder too. Does that go back to the eating, the
if
foods
yeah
you're consuming, the processed foods? There's been a lot of studies that show the ADD or epidemic is only because we're allowing it to happen. A lot of us probably had it growing up, but it was just called being a kid, and you got disciplined, you dealt with it. But I also feel like it has to do with a lot of the food now. When I was a kid, we didn't go out to eat every week. We didn't get like getting McDonald's and stuff. That was like a treat. My dad was a real stickler on that. We ate at home. We had dinner together. It was old school. Now they're going to McDonald's 3, 4 times a week for the dollar menu, and you just wonder if that all that kind of processed food with the sugars and the extra sodium is that's definitely been shown in studies to cause that ADD like effect. Where if they just got in a better diet, their focus would be better, their energy would be a little bit lower. It also goes to hormones and blah blah blah.
yeah
But a lot of that issue comes down to what are the kids eating that in turn also makes them obese. And being a teacher, a lot of the kids that act out and that have the energy are usually also a little bit overweight.
yeah yeah
So you wonder, does that go hand in hand? I mean, you gotta. There's studies on it. We won't get into that, but it all comes around to fruition.
yeah. I no, and finding an energy outlet for your kids too, and not. And look, I'm not one of those people. I am not. And I know people are going to tear me apart for this, but I'm not one of those people that says, oh, you need to limit your kids' screen time because they're going to be exposed to screens. The new generation they need to know how to work a smartphone before they even get into school because
Yeah.
unfortunately that's the route we're taking. And it's just one of those things where I think that if used correctly, smartphones can be an advantage to your kid and not a detriment. But I also am of the belief that, put it down, don't be on it all day, have at
Yep.
least an hour or 2 or 3 of playtime outside away from the screens. Get them interested in something like riding a bike. Those are kind of like old school things that just kind of click with kids.
Yep.
Bike, scooter, something that will get them up and out. And you parents, I know it's some of you out there saying, "Oh I'm tired. I don't want to go to the park. I don't want to do this." Yeah, do it. Sorry to say, but
Yep.
do it. Or get them involved in a youth center of some kind. Those exist still. They're
Hmm.
not just in every '90s Harlem movie ever, but they do actually exist, and they're held at churches sometimes. They're held at YMCA sometimes. Any excuse you can to get your kid active, I think you should be taking advantage of. But that leads us actually into, I think we've covered that. That leads into teenage obesity. So here's where things get a little hanky, right? Because teenagers do what they want, okay? They would do what they
Yep.
want.
Yes.
And it's my body, I can do what I want. I did that way too well for a straight man. So, But it's one of those things where you would have more expertise on this. I have my own theories, but why don't you go ahead and dive into that? So teenage obesity, what seems to be the cause?
I think a lot of it has to do with technology. And not only the food, but like we talk about technology. For instance, my health class now we teach it's on the computer.
Yeah.
All the kids do is they have the phones. They all talk about Fortnite. You know, all this stuff they are going on. They're not going outside and just playing basketball, playing baseball, running around. They're going home. They're FaceTiming. They're on Fortnite. They're playing video games. And we had them when we were growing up, but not to the extent they are now.
Right.
And that's huge because they're not being active. They're going home from school and sitting around all evening, you know? Lifting isn't necessarily cool anymore. Like, it's cool to wear, like, girl pants, skinny jeans. It's like, that wasn't cool when we were growing up.
Yeah.
You know, but now it's cool to be small and skinny and not built and wear the same pants as your girlfriend. So I think a lot of it, not only the food, the diet, but the technology, and once again, just the parent relationships. You know, you see a lot more of, if the parents aren't in a good relationship, or they're not going to have the dinners at home at night. Right. You know, if they're working a lot. You know, there's multiple factors, but a lot of it, I think, comes down to technology, and they get so wrapped up in their phones and everything, they don't even think about eating. Because once you look at that screen, it just sucks you in. We've all done it.
And I think that something else that's lacking kind of is the lack of education when it comes to nutrition. Like you said, nobody knows what calorie is. Nobody knows what fat does in the body, let alone how many calories it consists of. Same thing with protein. They know they need a lot of it because I think that advertising has done a fairly good job of that, but I don't think that they know they need more than 14 grams that says on their P3 packs that they take to school.
Yeah.
You know? So, because it's packed with protein, and it's only got 14 grams. Off there with that mess. But I also think that school lunches, portion size, and or satiety of the foods that they choose is to blame too a little bit, because teenagers are a special kind of beast, okay? If they don't like it, they're going to go off campus, if they have their driver's permit or whatever, right? They're going to go off campus, go to McDonald's, spend more of their parents' money, and end up being, oh, well, I had, something at McDonald's. Oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's every single day because the food selection here sucks. And I can't get seconds of my healthily portioned meals because that's also a problem that schools have to deal with. And I'm not saying they're to blame because that is a whole nother administrative nightmare.
Yeah, you don't want to get into that.
But parents should have readily available healthy snacks for them to be around. Whatever happened to almonds? Like,
you
popping
some almonds.
Popping some almonds in your kid's lunch, or I will say that this over-reliance on drinks with calories seems to be an issue, especially with teenagers. Like, they're kind of sneaky. The calories are kind of sneaky because you're like, oh, this is water, basically. It doesn't have, it's sweetened water, right? This Monster, has 180 to 300 something calories per can, and they get the big can, and there's a bunch of your caloric intake. Plus, they have fruit juices that they mistakenly think are healthy, which is a whole mess. What are your thoughts on that, by the way? Dietary liquid sugar for teenagers. I think it should be avoided like the plague if possible. So,
you talking about with the diet sodas and all that kind of stuff?
Not diet sodas. I'm talking about full fat sodas, because that's the stuff that sneaks up on.
I think it's terrible. I love this argument of, well, you have the aspartame, artificial sweeteners. I'm like, okay, or would I much rather have 40 grams of sugar and 40 grams of carbs, or artificial sweetener? I'll choose that. So all these drinks they have, the Capri Suns, all the different drinks with all, people don't realize, even Gatorade.
Yeah. Like,
you're drinking sugar and carbs, and they don't even know what they're consuming. So I think without a doubt,
Gatorade was actually formulated for athletes. Okay,
yes, but
people that
not
are
just
on the
the
field,
daily drink.
right? People that are
Yeah.
on the field that are energy depleted as it is. They need three things: they need readily available blood sugar, they need a readily available sugar, they need sodium, and they need potassium, and they also apparently need it to taste like Kool-Aid. So,
Yes.
those are the things that are important for athletes. Those of you going from class to class, fiddling with your locker, and then getting the heck out of there, you don't need Gatorade. You're not active. So, that's I just get so triggered over Gatorade because, people think of it as like a healthy beverage alternative.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not because they don't know anything about nutrition or how to read a nutritional label and the facts. They don't understand how things work.
Right.
Unfortunately,
And
So,
I think
I mean,
there's a lot of young people that are going to discover this video, and if they do, I would highly suggest that you ditch the soda, ditch the coffees, because that one seems to be creeping up. You can buy those Starbucks Frappuccinos, which taste good.
yeah,
But they're in the bin.
loaded with
And
junk.
And I think that it's kind of healthy for a teenager if they do want to eat in excess. Save the times when you eat in excess to the weekends, so that way you won't do as much damage. You can eat kind of what you need, necessities to get you by during the school week, and then go play basketball with your friends on the weekend, and then of course gorge yourself on pizza because that's what young boys do, like myself back in the day. But that would be a good way to minimize your chance of additional weight gain, because what you'll see is people go from childhood to teen, pretty healthily body weight, and then once they're a teenager and all their friends have the influences that they have on them, they're like, oh yeah, get McDonald's, get this, this energy drink, you need to try this, you need to try that, and then all of a sudden you're like 30 pounds heavier, with puberty going on at the same time, by the way.
Yeah.
So, and if you have never experienced puberty, I had that. I had puberty hunger increases. Whenever I went through, of course I went through it early though. I went through it at 11, but that was early blooming.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
I was manly man. But yeah, so if you're experiencing some of those hunger increases, just keep yourself busy. But I would say watch it on the food, and then pack your own lunches. Like you're a teenager now, right? You can pack your own lunches. That's the beauty of being old enough to actually put something on. You don't have to rely on mom and dad so much. So if you say, I'm going to pack my own lunches, and you pack yourself a turkey sandwich, I mean, good to go, something simple like that. Turkey sandwich, an apple, and then some sort of something else you want. Maybe like a little jug of milk, for some extra protein, So.
And the problem is, too, like you said, it then goes from teenage, then you're in college where you're completely alone.
We're getting into that.
Adulthood. Yeah.
So. Let's jump into that. So, let's go ahead and say it. Party phase. Young adults go through this copious amounts of drinking whenever they go into college. And, hey, we've all been there. But at the same time, that's how people gain 70 pounds in their first year of college. Those guys that are just, party animals, they end up usually having a beer gut by the end of it.
Yeah, because you eat too. When you start drinking, you get hungry, you eat. I mean, it's not just the alcohol doing it to you. It's what you're eating when you're drinking and that kind of stuff. And you're slowing your metabolism down, and you're getting older. I mean, it all rolls together.
And they just don't care to do any exercise, too, because, the funny thing is exercise plays such an important role as you get older for not only injury prevention, like, you hear about old people slipping and breaking their hip, all that stuff. If you do some exercise earlier in life, it's shown to prevent that, or at least prevent some of it. Nobody's going to help you if you fall off a ladder, but hey, you might break less bones, because you'll be thicker. But what really is alarming to me is you have these people that are obese in college, they do no exercise, and all of a sudden, 30 comes around, heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, they go into a heart attack, right? Or they have a major cardiac event, and stroke or what have you. And those are the people that just don't take care of themselves while they're young adults.
Yeah, and I wonder why. Why did this happen to me? Well, I can tell you why. I mean, and once again, it's that lack of knowledge, which I think happens in high school too.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's not really talked about. So it's got to be started at a young age and not just touched on in elementary school with the plate, with your food on it, the pyramid, all that stuff. But it needs to be continued in high school so they understand it early. And then it's getting better. It's definitely getting better. But it's still a long way off. It's still crazy how people have no idea what a protein is, what a carb is, and that's where you get into problems in adulthood. Your metabolism slows, and they don't even have the knowledge to know how to lose the weight.
Yeah. And doctors have been, all the time been going over these crazy diet fads. I mean, they used to tell you eggs will kill you. They used to tell you bacon was going to kill you.
Yep.
They used to, what was it? The keto diet actually made an appearance in the recommendation for doctors a while back in the 90s, and then they started moving over to the Mediterranean diet where they're kind of staying. They don't mention calories because when people say that they have to do math, it's like, hold up, basic subtraction and addition? Well, that's just too complicated, or it's just too time-consuming, or it's just do this, or just do that.
I love that. It takes too much time. It's like, come on.
Also, by the way, if you've never calorie counted and you truly have never tried it, and you talk shit about it, move on. Shush.
Pretty much.
I mean, even if you are kind of neurotic like I am and have to count everything gram by gram just because that's the way I like to do things. I would have been an accountant in a different life. It's just easy. It's easy. It's like it's a quantitative. It's a way to quantify energy expenditure with numbers. Now I know they're off 20%. Yeah. Everybody who I've gotten into an argument about before with calorie counting brings up the fact that nutrition labels are off by 20%, but it doesn't matter that fucking much. So, I mean, honestly, they're using every excuse in the book to not count.
And at the end of the day, it's still better than what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's I can't calorie count because they're off. Well, how much weight have you lost? Well, I'm going to work on that when New Year's comes around.
Yeah, yep. I'm going to start Monday. It's like, well,
I'm going to start Monday. That's another one.
Start today. Just start next meal. Start, this evening. I mean, you keep saying that, and then you're going to keep putting it off, and that's what people do,
There's also this annoying thing when it comes to young adults too, is they know they should work out, right? And this plagues females most of all, right? Because I don't think men are usually in that mindset per se, but they get to the point where they're like, and this happens usually over a couple of years, right? They're like, I need to lose weight. Okay, I really need to lose weight. Third year comes around. Okay, I'm doing it this year. What do I need to do? And then they make out this plan, which is like, do this and this and this and this. And then it comes to the physical exercise, and they're like, but I'm embarrassed to go into the gym before I'm fit enough to go into the gym. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, the gym was invented for that? What are your opinions on that? The fear of going into the gym before you go into the gym, like embarrassment or not knowing how to do things right or whatever.
I think that's social media has a big part in that. everyone sees the social media, Photoshop pictures and whatnot, and they think, well, I'll never look like that, or I'm not going to fit in. At the end of the day, everyone started somewhere.
Yeah.
Just because how someone looks at one point on their social media or in person, that doesn't mean they started there.
Nope.
They could have started skinny as a rail and been training eating, or they could have been very overweight and then cut down. So,
or it could have been after a 36-hour water cut.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
take the fucking picture.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just you have to start. Just know that everyone starts somewhere, and if you need help, make sure you find a good person to help you, a good trainer, not just someone who's going to be your friend and talk to you while you work out. Actually find someone who can teach you how to do things and make you better.
Most gyms will offer as part of their sign-up a free one-time personal training session, which is to get you hooked to that person, but it's also serves a different purpose entirely. It kind of, I've talked to a couple of gym owners. It kind of negates that fear of not knowing how to use the machine, because if you're being instructed by a personal trainer, that makes you seem like you're being, professional about this, and it's like you're in there with a battle plan, and you're going to get fit and all that stuff. So it kind of, negates that
too. And you want to also, if you can start a diet with somebody,
right?
Have somebody, a friend or someone who can do it with you. So you challenge each other, a little competition. You hold each other accountable, whether it's a coworker, right? Whoever you live with, your spouse. Be like, hey, let's both do this together. And you challenge each other, and it makes it easier with the food choices, because the other person's not eating this, and they're going to the gym, so you go together. Picking apart, not even a personal trainer, just picking someone to do with to start. That's the biggest step too. You got about that.
Yeah. So I think workout buddies are kind of majorly neglected nowadays too, because everybody's so up their butt with their own phone.
Yeah.
So, but
that's an issue too. That's another topic, but
yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing. You just got to get someone to help you, guide you, and then have someone to help you stick with it. So the first week or two are always the hardest, and then now you got to, after that, usually you're pretty good. Once you start seeing those first results, you kind of become hooked. But it's just all about, pretty much just shutting your mouth and doing it and just starting. And the starting is the hardest part. Once you start, you get it going, then it's kind of smooth sailing from there. Then it just becomes, just a habit, a lifestyle.
Right. Not only that, but when it comes to, I want to jump back to the diet thing because, I was being a little insensitive here. So if you don't want to cut calories, if you do not want to count calories, things you can do, right? Now, I'm not talking about a fad diet. I'm talking about something that has been long forgotten, gone by the wayside, never talked about ever, right? Portion control.
Yes.
So it's something very powerful that people can kind of have a quantitative measurement. I actually talked to one of my friends about this. He was trying to gain weight, and I told him, all right, your meal where you eat a bowl of cereal, go another cup of cereal. If that doesn't cut weight from you, go another cup of cereal, right? If that doesn't gain weight, and because he's a real big cereal guy, and it seems to work for him. Well, you can do the same thing with your regular meals. Just cut pieces, like if you're having like a pasta, let's say you have a portion this size, well, cut one side off of it, I mean, I know that could be a little bit slower depending on how many different foods you have, how many different days, but it's kind of pretty simple, and it works, like some people who have done like movie star transformations and stuff like that, they usually just use portion control because they're divas, and so like, oh yeah, just eat less. Oh, I can comprehend that. I'll just eat less. Like,
right, instead of 2 burgers, get 1. I mean, stuff like that.
Exactly. Instead of having a burger and fries, cut the fries out. or
Right.
have a small fry.
Slowly,
You know.
slowly keep doing that, and then you'll see the results, and you're not having to take a food scale anywhere and all that kind of stuff.
And most importantly, come on over to chaosandpain.com where you can read all the most fantastic blogs. So, had to do
And
one
your
plug.
fat burning supplements.
Had to do one plug. Just
You
one.
have to. Just one's all you need.
So I kind of wanted to get your opinion on this. So this is the next stage of life here is adult, and I'm talking like grown man, 40s, into their 50s. What do they need to be on the lookout for? Like what's something that they can do in order to get started, right? So
I mean, a lot of times when you put money on something, you're going to do it. So if you have money invested in something, you're going to be more prone to pay attention to it and to do
Right.
it. Therefore, hire, all the people I work with are actually all older online. Hire someone to hold you accountable, and if you have an investment in it with your money, better chance you're going to stick to it because you don't want to waste your money.
right. I'll buy a gym membership.
That's
too.
why gym membership is, anymore $15 a month. Well, you pay someone, you're paying $100 a month.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to think twice before you eat off that diet a couple times and realizing, well, I'm just going to waste my money. I need to stay true. $100 or $200 will make someone do that, not 15 or 20, because that's just, that is what it is. So
yeah, that's
the
a
gym is
McDonald's
good, but
order.
right, but you have, you pay someone a decent amount of money or a little bit of money to hold you accountable. They're also, if they're good at what they do, they're going to check up on you. They're going to text you. They're going to get your updates. They're going to make you kind of always think about it. Oh, I don't want to upset this person who's helping me because I'm cheating or eating poorly. Right. You have someone else to hold you accountable and to kind of do it for, not just yourself,
Now, I will say this, for those of you thinking, investment, okay, I'll buy a treadmill. Don't do that when you're first starting out. Just go to a gym and use their facilities because they're probably going to be more well maintained and all this stuff. Like, also, I feel like people, now, you can work out from home, mind you, okay? You can do that very successfully. I did that for a while. I do know that there was a little plateau stage where I couldn't get any stronger on the stuff that I was using, so I had to move to a gym, and now I do deadlifts and all that stuff, and it'd be horribly expensive to get a home gym. But I feel that most people, when they get a home gym environment, they can usually excuses themselves out of working out because it's like, oh, well, I've got laundry to do today, or I've got this to do today, or I've got that to do today, or, oh, I just forgot about it or whatever, right? So they can usually have these mental gymnastics to get out of it, right? I don't feel good, all this stuff. And that's more easily done when something is right there. Also, don't pick a gym too far away. Like if motivation is a problem for you, because you'll use that as an excuse too.
I want to drive 10, 15 miles. All right, find somewhere 3-4 miles away.
Yeah. And also, if you do end up buying any gym equipment and you do end up not using it, let me know because I could probably take it off your hands. So, but no, it's one of those things where I think that a better investment for $600 would be a good gym membership instead of a treadmill that you're going to use 3 times. That's just a personal opinion of mine. Now, before you say anything, I know that people can get big though at home, and that's fine, but it's not my recommendation for beginners. So, also, it's like going to the office to work. Like when you work from home, like I do, sometimes you have to kick yourself in the butt to get things done. Whereas if you have an office that you go to, you have an environment created specifically for the work. That's what the gym is, So it's an environment created specifically for you to go in there and work out. I would say that don't try and push too hard your first week or even your second because you are a bit older. And I think we'll wrap this up with seniors. So this is an interesting age group because they probably already have something wrong with them that's making them do this, or they have something that has happened to them, like a friend died that was close to their age, and they think that going to the gym is going to, you know what I'm saying. It's there's some force, right, over 60, some force that you get outside that kind of really resonates with you to go and take your health seriously. So, what do you have? Do you have any advice for them?
I mean, when it comes to being, older people, it's hard to lose weight. It literally is just about increasing your overall activity, increasing your energy output, and like you said, portion control. Most likely, if they're if they're elderly, you don't see too many elderly people obese or overweight. In all reality, I mean, they'll have a little bit of a weight issue because they're 70, 80 years old, but it's rare to find them to be severely obese. And if they are, it's because they're not mobile enough. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
You see a lot of older people who been taught good work ethic growing up, so they're always moving. They're doing something. So if you're older and you can't go and lift necessarily because of injury, increase the energy you're outputting a day, whether that's walking or riding a bike, and then control those portions you're eating. Be a little bit smarter with the foods you're eating, and that will give you results where you might not lose any, much weight, but it'll help your cholesterol, things like that, to where you'll extend your life a few more years, hopefully.
Yeah, and it's all about taking things slow. I mean, don't feel like you have to go in there and pick up a barbell the first time, right? Do things like wall sits. Do things like low impact, low mobility, or low. I guess low impact would be the word.
Yeah.
Go swimming. Swimming is a great. Yeah.
Yep. Stuff in the pool.
But man,
that's a good way to do it.
I think that wraps things up. We've kind of covered obesity through all stages of life. And in closing, do you have any closing thoughts on why taking care of yourself is important? Either from personal anecdote or whatever.
I mean, you're going to save money. I mean, you're not going to be going to the doctor for as many issues, and you're going to get more accomplished in life because you're going to feel better. You should have more energy. You'll feel more confident. So, I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Watching your weight and watch what you eat has a lot more benefits than just your weight.
Yeah.
Than just losing weight. It affects your everyday life in a lot more positive way. So, that's the best you can take from it.
Yeah. This is where it's going to get kind of dark, and I apologize for those who are not into this. I wish I had a dimmer right here so I could dim the lights. But, so, first and foremost, it's important to take care of your health because quality of life is something you will never get back sometimes when you lose it. Now, there are a lot of people that get obese and then they become unobese. They have all this loose skin, and it really becomes an issue, and it is uncomfortable, and you're just never confident, and sometimes you can develop psychological issues from becoming obese in the first place. Take, care of yourself because you only got one body. Also, if you do end up dying early because of something like obesity, it's not you that's affected, especially if you have a family. You are just one part of the equation. Your kids, your parents, the people that love you, the people that care about you, they will be affected by the butterfly effect that you leave behind. And that is not something I say lightly because I was in that position. I couldn't bend down and tie my shoes when I was 16. And that's because I just didn't take my health seriously enough. And now that I've gained mobility back, now that I have gained a greater quality of life, life's pretty dang awesome. I can go to concerts. I can stand for more than 30 minutes. All these stupid little, and I mean insignificant things that you're going like, come on, you really weren't that, yeah, I was that bad off. And, I hate to see people go through it and go through it for a very long time, because it's sometimes it feels like you're trapped under the layers that you've put on, you know? And you know, it's something that you never realize you didn't have until you gain the quality of life, and then you're like, oh, well, this is what living is supposed to feel like. Of course, this is coming from a super obese nobody, or former super obese nobody, so take everything in this episode with a grain of salt. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. If you dislike this video, we will see you in the next one. That was a good closing statement, I think.
Yeah, no, it was very good. I liked it.
I didn't end the episode though. I'm letting this awkwardly drag on.
Oh, perfect. Even better.
Now it's the end.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. That is good.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living online, my city don't show me no loving, that's fine. Fuck local radio stations, I got more plays than all of these rappers combined. I'm going again, I've been going in, I'm fed up with so many things, I gotta just let it all out. I'm talking about the shit they've been talking about, telling me I should do this, telling me I should do that, telling me things about rap, talking the truth and that stab in my back that will knock me off track. No, too many things have been building, been hard to deal with, I just been drinking. Remember my moves in the past, I'm wondering what was I thinking. Lately I'm living in fear, wondering what if the end is so near. All of this shit going on, the shootings are strong. One shot to the head and I'm gone. I'm losing control but I can't let it go, cause I'm trying to get more. And I've been in the moment, I've been in the zone, and I'm moving alone. I don't pick up the phone when my family call, I've been doing it wrong and I don't know what's happening. Trying to get what I just been imagining, getting close and I just been examining all of the fake shit the game has been packaging.
Power pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box, nobody telling me what I should rock, nobody telling me what I should drop, cause I do what I want and just know I don't stop. Recording till 4 in the morning, they snoring, I'm pouring my soul into every story. I'm writing, producing, I mix it, I master, I'm building my craft and I'm not looking back. I've been going doing things I wanna do when I want to. Everybody wanna get a win but they not do. Everybody wanna copy you but they not you. Everybody wanna be cool but they not new. Whoa, look how I go, gonna be a dentist, I still got the flow. Never gonna lose cause I'm still doing both. Never gonna lose cause I've been on the road. Come to your state and I'm killing the show. Know that I'm young and I still gotta grow. Know that I'm working the most, know I'm never gonna choke, and I'm looking back down on the people below.
I've been keeping real, I've been doing what I feel, I've been out here trying to kill.